And then just to kind of close up on the smoke, I don't want to talk about the whole interview because Carter Smith was on the player's perspective. It's now being hosted by Sydney Parrish because shout out to Mackenzie
Oh,
Holmes. She's
go,
now
by the way.
Mackenzie Holmes is going to Seattle to go play in the W, which is huge. So Sid's taking over as the host for the player's perspective. Her first pod was Carter Smith. Just a couple of things that came from Carter Smith. He said in high school he played volleyball, and I think as a freshman he also played hockey. So like I'm
Multi-sport
like trying
athlete.
to, but trying to picture like being like a freshman hockey player, and you just look up and there's Carter Smith coming down the ice. Like, and I asked Brad before the show how many organic Ocean Township mentions are there going to be on the show tonight. He said over under 1.5. Here comes one of them. We had an offensive lineman at Ocean when I was in high school who played hockey, and he was just an enforcer out there. And watching him on the ice compared to everybody else who was out there and just like go run people over was hilarious. So like trying to picture Carter Smith playing hockey is hysterical, and I feel bad for the people he was hitting. But he was actually quite the volleyball player. Like played club and volleyball. He's got like volleyball highlights that are like out on his huddle and shit like that. So like you can go find it. He was pretty pumped about it. I think his mom played at Bowling Green State. So yeah, really really cool nugget from Carter Smith.
Yeah, at 6'5", 6'6", he gives the typical middle blocker build, is what I would say.
Well, he said he played outside.
Outside hitter. What a freak! Oh my god! There's no way he was. Well, he probably wasn't too. He's probably wasn't quite 250 plus.
I don't understand. Maybe I missed.
Outside hitters are like 6'4" and like string beans, man.
Well, I mean, you have to think of what a high school Carter Smith looked like. He probably wasn't 6'5", whatever he is now.
He was probably 6'5", 200.
Lighter, yeah.
Yeah. Which would probably work as an outside hitter. That's very impressive, and that's gonna go on. Like if scouts hear about that in the NFL, obviously that's just kind of what you look for when you evaluate high school players. Like, are they playing multiple sports? How high of a level do they play at those sports? And you hear an offensive tackle that played freshman volleyball outside hitter, you're like, okay.
No, he played volleyball. This kid
probably has a nice little vert. Yeah, I'm excited to see his vert come his pro day next year or the year after, whenever that happens.
He said Sid asked him why Indiana, and he said he was recruited during this. I felt this got punch, honestly. He said he was recruited during 2020 and he just believed in the staff. Like, I also believed in the staff, especially after 2020. So I feel you on that one, Carter. But he said he stayed because of Bosted and Sig.
Yeah, that checks out. I mean, 2020 was there was a big recruiting uptick that happened after that year, and obviously only a few of those guys are still on the roster. I think it's just like Bray Lynch and Carter Smith, and I don't know if there's really anyone else on the roster from that particular class. Yeah, I mean, man, I'll always say Tom Allen walked so Sid can run. I mean, that 2020 year gave not only Indiana fans, but just, I guess, recruiting ranks that like, hey, it's possible to win at Indiana. Sustainably might be difficult. You might need a different guy other than Tom Allen to do it. And that's where kind of Signetti comes in. Hopefully he can, bounce back year two, like we're hoping, and continue this continued success that we're cooking up right now. Go on. Oh, what do you want to give Sydney? Sig wants a grade for Sydney Parrish podcasting.
I hate grading shit, but listen, she wasn't David Letterman, right? Like, she's not going to win an Emmy, but in terms of like content I want to see from Indiana athletes, I thought it was great. And like, it was her first time. She's going to get better at it. So I would say, in terms of like putting out an enjoyable podcast for Indiana Hoosier fans, I'd say A+. In terms of her like legitimate ability to like host a show and move it along, I don't know, like B+. Like she wasn't bad at it, but she like,
decent.
Like,
yeah, I remember. I saw your tweet where you did call her a star. So
I think she is a star. She's a natural. Like, she just spent 5 years playing high level college basketball, and she's like, oh, I'm just gonna hop into this podcasting thing and just like be good at it immediately. Like, I think she is a star. But if you're asking for like an honest grade for the first time. It wasn't like I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm watching the next Letterman. I was like, I'm having fun.
Yeah, she has the personality for it, so glad she's taking a
Yeah.
stab at it.
Listen,
It'll
I
be
think
fun.
like if you're talking like episode 5, episode 6, Sydney Parrish, like I think we're talking like she has the potential to be very, very good at this. So it's like just more reps in front of the microphone. So, but you know, she's a competitor.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. All right, what's next? Is that it for the smoke?
No, actually, I want to cover. I'll finish up Carter Smith real quick. He took time to genuinely thank the fans. This is a guy who has seen the highs and the lows of Indiana football, and it was just you could tell it was from the bottom of his heart. And he talked about like having like young fans come up to him and like those moments mean everything to him. And so that was really cool. And yeah, just like he put a real emphasis on just like how big of a deal that the fan base was and how much they give the program. And so I thought that was like, again, it's a great interview. Yeah, definitely go check that out. Do we know anything about do we know anything?
Do we know anything
This is
about
a
Byron
favorite.
Baldwin?
This is a favorite. We actually talked about Byron Baldwin for like 5 minutes last week, talking
Yeah,
about is he
he's gonna see the field. Let's just keep it at
Yes.
that. He's
Short
gonna see the
answer,
field
yes.
for sure.
He's absolutely going to see the field. Is he going to
Going to
start?
see the field.
You'd like to think that they brought in a lot of really talented upperclassmen so that he doesn't have to start because the guys in front of him are really good. But that's, again, like we said last week, no
Whether he
indictment
starts
on
or
Baldwin.
not, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. We'll see. We'll take it as it happens. Basically,
He's a stud. He's a really, really, really good player, and he's going to make an impact. I don't know how early this year, but probably this year and for a while.
Yeah. All right. Are we good to kind of catch up on these comments or?
Diego, you could catch.
What do you think? So first off, John was talking about, you guys were talking about the freshmen being the building blocks earlier for the future, just to clarify, not for this year, but for the years after. But all but 3 that he brought in last year are still on the roster this year. I don't think that's true. So would like some clarification there. Abel was saying, bottom line, quarterback needs to be able to run. That's what killed us against Notre Dame. Once Notre Dame defense realized work was 0 threat to run, they pinned their ears back in 8. Mendoza can run. Love it. He respects my Andrew Luck. He's throwing Aaron Rodgers in there. Love that. I'm going based on like build and throwing motion when I say he just reminds me of Andrew Luck, the way he throws the ball, the physicality, the mobility at that size. Very impressive. And obviously, Luck's known as a very smart, cerebral player. Fernando, Yale, Cal. The kid's smart, loves football. I see the same similarities from a cerebral standpoint too. And then, yeah, and Byron Baldwin's going to see the field. Yeah, all right. It looks like we're all caught up. Sig, Philistine, Kosin, Chair. Oh yeah. So Philistine hit the portal, which is fine. Kosin just didn't make the cut really with the amount of, like, when you see guys like Philistine and Kosin go, it's as much. I don't like trashing players, but they probably weren't with the like they probably weren't up to standard, or they think, they weren't 100% in, and that's fine. If they want to go their own separate ways, like, that's totally fine. We'll just continue to evaluate and replace them. When I say we, I mean Signetti. I'm not in the film room. And then Cherry is around the program. He's going to be a supervisor around the quarterback staff. They're not using up a roster spot on him, so he's going to basically get a double red shirt. He's going to come in as a redshirt freshman next year, which is exciting. So I think that's like they're doing a little loophole with him, which is kind of nice because he's out for the year. Hurt his knee. So just to clarify that. But Kosin and Philistine are gone. But Cherry will be on the roster next year unless something weird happens.